Welcome to Southwest Desert, where adventure meets the arid beauty of the American Southwest. Join us as we explore the rugged landscapes, uncover hidden historical gems, and dive deep into the rich legends and culture of this iconic region. Subscribe now and hit the bell icon so you don't miss out on our latest desert adventures. Please leave a like or comment. This is very helpful. Let's journey together into the heart of the Southwest Desert. The Texas Gulf Coast, 1821. A brass rod sinks into muddy marsh soil, its top barely visible above the surface. Three men work quickly under darkness, burying a fortune in Spanish gold and silver. The leader, a notorious pirate, takes careful measurements from two distant tree groves, recording these coordinates in his journal before turning to his companions. 3 years. Wait 3 years before returning. With that, Jean Laffite, the Gulf's most infamous buccaneer, disappears into the night, leaving behind a treasure that remains undiscovered to this day. Welcome to Southwest Desert. I'm your host, Alan, and today we're exploring the extraordinary story of Jean Laffite's lost treasure, a tale of piracy, desperate escapes, accidental discoveries, and a fortune that continues to captivate treasure hunters 2 centuries later. Jean Laffite wasn't just any pirate. He was the preeminent figure among Gulf of Mexico buccaneers in the early 1800s, dashing, intelligent, and ruthlessly effective. While historians debate which tales about Laffite are fact versus fiction, substantial evidence supports his success in capturing Spanish vessels and accumulating significant wealth. By 1819, Laffite had established a thriving operation in Louisiana, but increasing pressure from the U.S. Navy forced him to seek new territory. He set his sights on Galveston Island, Texas, an ideal location with a natural harbor and proximity to Spanish shipping lanes. Upon arriving at Galveston, Laffite discovered a rival pirate band already established there. Rather than seeking another location, he eliminated the competition through swift military action, then repurposed an abandoned Spanish fortress about half a mile west of where the Galveston Yacht Basin stands today. From this new base, Laffite's business flourished. His crews specialized in targeting Spanish vessels carrying New World gold and silver. Using shallow draft vessels that could navigate waters where larger naval ships couldn't follow, Laffite conducted raid after successful raid, amassing a substantial fortune. But Laffite made a fatal miscalculation. Initially avoiding American ships to prevent U.S. government intervention, he gradually began targeting vessels flying the American flag. By 1821, reports of these attacks reached Washington, prompting a decisive response. The USS Enterprise, under Captain Kearny's command, arrived at Galveston with clear orders: end Laffite's piracy. After days of tense negotiations, Kearny delivered an ultimatum. Laffite had 30 days to evacuate the island or face military action. The guns of the Enterprise, trained on Laffite's fortress, left no doubt about American resolve. Just 4 days before this deadline, disaster struck. One of Laffite's vessels, the Pride, ran aground near the mouth of the Lavaca River. The ship's planks fractured, and it began to sink, along with a fortune in Spanish treasure. Facing both the sinking ship and the American deadline, Laffite organized an emergency salvage operation. He selected only his most trusted associates to handle the treasure: a chest filled with gold coins from various countries and eras, valuable jewelry, and 2 canvas sacks containing Spanish silver bars. Under cover of darkness, Laffite and his men transported this fortune several hundred yards across treacherous salt marsh. The location was chosen with care. Soil composition, visibility, and accessibility for future recovery all factored into the decision. Most critically, Laffite created a precise marking system. He took compass readings from the burial site to two prominent tree groves known locally as mottes, the Kentucky mott and the Malden mott. These landmarks would serve as reference points for future recovery. All details were meticulously recorded in his journal. As a final marker, Laffite drove a brass rod deep into the ground at the burial site, leaving only about 8 inches visible above the surface. With the Navy's deadline approaching, Laffite gave specific instructions to his trusted companions. They were to return to New Orleans, adopt honest lives, and wait 3 years before returning for the treasure. Laffite himself planned to head north of Red River, though he kept his exact destination secret. And so, the most notorious pirate of the Gulf sailed away from Galveston Island, leaving behind a fortune that would spawn generations of treasure hunters. The first attempts to recover the treasure were doomed from the start. One of Laffite's companions returned to New Orleans as instructed, but fell ill with malaria. On his deathbed, he shared the treasure information with a friend who mounted several expeditions. Despite having partial knowledge of the location, each attempt failed. The second companion settled permanently in New Orleans, starting a family and legitimate career. In his final years, he passed the treasure knowledge to his sons. They organized their own expedition but were equally unsuccessful. Changes in the marsh landscape, inaccuracies in the directions, and the challenging environment all contributed to their failure. Throughout the following decades, the legend of Laffite's treasure persisted, drawing people to the Texas Gulf Coast. In one remarkable incident, a rancher named Hill, who had established property near the Lavaca River, came tantalizingly close to the treasure. One of Hill's hired hands was supervising livestock in the marsh when he spotted a metal rod protruding from the soil. Needing to secure his horse, he used the rod as a hitching post. When his horse moved, it loosened the rod. Curious, the worker pulled it free and brought it back to show his employer. Hill, familiar with the Laffite legend, immediately recognized the significance of the brass rod. He questioned his employee about the exact location and organized a search expedition for the next day. Despite the hired hand's guidance and a full day of methodical searching, they couldn't relocate the exact spot. The uniformity of the marsh landscape and the absence of the critical marker meant Hill's team was searching blindly. Laffite's carefully placed marker, perhaps the key to finding his buried fortune, had been unwittingly removed. Around 1870, a turkey hunter crawling through tall grass near the Lavaca River mouth had his own brush with the lost treasure. His knee struck something hard partially buried in the soil. The object looked like a brick, and the hunter took it home for examination. That evening, he and his brother discovered it was actually a bar of pure silver. Recognizing the potential connection to the Laffite legend, they returned the next day but failed to relocate the site despite searching for miles. What makes this story particularly intriguing is that the hunters reported seeing both the Kentucky motte and Malden mott in the distance, the very landmarks Laffite had used in his marking system. Had they understood the significance of these features, they might have triangulated the position and discovered the entire cache. Perhaps the most bizarre chapter in this saga is the tale of Crazy Ben, an eccentric figure who appeared in Galveston during the 1880s. Ben lived in a shack near the Lavaca River mouth and claimed to have been a cabin boy for Laffite. According to his story, he had secretly witnessed the treasure burial as a 10-year-old. After Laffite's departure, Ben remained in the area, supporting himself through fishing and odd jobs. What drew attention was his habit of paying for drinks at waterfront bars with Spanish gold coins, precisely the type Laffite was known to have captured. In his frequent drunken states, Ben boasted that he would periodically visit the burial site, take a handful of coins, and rebury the rest for later. Despite having access to substantial wealth, he maintained a modest lifestyle, attracting both curiosity and suspicion. Local residents often attempted to follow Ben, hoping he would lead them to the treasure. He developed elaborate methods to detect and evade such surveillance, but Ben's luck eventually ran out. After a night of heavy drinking at a local tavern, he was followed by two unidentified figures. The next morning, Ben's body was discovered on the shore near his home, his throat slashed. Had Ben truly discovered Laffite's treasure? And did this knowledge cost him his life? The mystery deepened with his death. A notable expedition in the 1920s was led by treasure hunters from Oklahoma, who claimed to possess original notes from Laffite's journal. They successfully located both mottes, the key landmarks in Laffite's marking system, but still failed to find the treasure itself. If found today, the value of Laffite's treasure would be staggering. Beyond the inherent worth of the gold and silver, the historical coins would have immense numismatic value. Museum curators and private collectors would likely enter bidding wars for artifacts from such a legendary cache. What makes Laffite's treasure particularly compelling is its plausibility. Unlike many treasure legends built entirely on folklore, this story contains numerous elements supported by historical record. Jean Laffite was indeed a successful pirate who operated in the Gulf. He was forced from Galveston by the U.S. Navy in 1821. Multiple independent accounts mention the brass marker, the silver bar discovery, and the mysterious Crazy Ben with his Spanish coins. Join my Patreon community and discover my art print products on my website in the links provided in my description and link above. Also, if you would like a particular image from my videos, give the timestamp for image, and I will upload it to my website and Patreon. Thank you for joining your desert frontiersman Alan for another Southwest Gold story. Check out my large catalog of Southwest videos and playlists on historical tales, legends, lost gold stories, and adult bedtime stories. If you like a certain image from my videos, tell me in comments and give timestamp. Happy trails! Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe for more great content. Hit the notification bell so you never miss an update. See you in the next video.